As you might have noticed, for the past about year and a half, I've been using algos in my trading in different manners. First with alerts, and then moving on to trading automatically, so the algo placing trades by itself. There was things I wish I knew before for sure, and I want to share today with you some of those. What's up, traders? Welcome back to Bangkok in Thailand. I'm in my apartment now on a comfortable sofa, which is really nice. I wanted to share with you basically today some tips about algos. And I, as you know, partner with Pepperstone since a few weeks to be able to provide you with more insights from different people in the industry. And these people are really good at what they do for sure. Today's going to feature a discussion I had with Jason at Pepperstone. Here's a bit of background about Jason.
Yeah, so my name's Jason Norman. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Pepperstone. I have accountability really for the operations teams, also for our products and services that we take to market, including our internal applications and the way that we look after clients.
I want to cover things in this video that people don't talk about sometimes online, things that you might not expect from algos. We'll talk about why people move to algos first these days, why it's so popular. Then some things not to do with algos you must avoid, and some things that are going to be best practices when you trade with algos, which are really important. And at the end, we'll cover how do you increase confidence when you trade with your algo, which is also a big topic. So first things first, maybe you're watching this video now and you're clear about using algos, you know why you want to use them, and you just want to get to work quickly. If that's your case, fine, we'll get there soon. But let's say you don't know why you should use algos yet, you're not sure about it. Here's something that might convince you to move to algos.
Yeah, I've been working with EAs since 1995 when I originally worked in the corporate institutional banks. Look, one of the core reasons why traders should use an EA, it's around pure execution of a strategy. One of the things that we're finding is that over 50% of our trades and growing is basically performed by an EA. And the couple of the core reasons why they should use it, look, EAs are non-emotional. They're about pure execution of a strategy. There's no emotion that comes into, should I close now? Should I open it now? And in reality, the reason why we generally, get a lot of clients using EAs is because it's very fast execution. And the final thing is it's really because it's a 24/7 service. All the markets go over all day. And for example, for us in Australia at the moment, the US equity markets opens at 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and it's generally pretty difficult to be awake at that time should you wish to trade equities. Look, in the last couple of years, so specifically over the last 2 years, we've seen almost a systemic rise where we've gone from kind of 20 to 30% of our daily trades being placed by EAs to currently we have over 50% of our trades. We can see a lot of that, particularly across a lot of the major currency pairs. And one of the things that we're really working hard on Pepperstone is to become the home of algorithmic trading. We want to create an environment where we can give access to great data, we can give really good customer support, and we want that to be in our environment, because one of the things that's kind of critical for the EA traders, it's all about time and execution. So we want to give the support. We give support through some of our MT4, MT5, some of the plugins that we offer through our smart trader tools. They're really, really important because that helps people refine their strategies. A lot of our clients, and we're trying to help us and just help them get better at their EAs. This isn't about just going to the internet and buying one. We see a lot of our kind of premium customers and even our traders in general are now starting to get curious about, how do I build an EA? How do I execute my strategy? How do I let it work for me overnight? And we've seen that grow, expecting in the future for that to kind of be the lion's share of our trading. And we hope it does, because we see a lot of people that are very successful.
But of course, as you know, that's not to say that algos and using them is easy. Like anything in trading, there's some difficulties and things that you need to think about, especially when you start off with algos.
So some of the things that a trader shouldn't do is that EAs are not a set and forget strategy. They're not something where you just put into a VPS, turn them on and never go back and have a look at them. One of the other core things, particularly around an EAs, is that not all EAs are designed to run across all time frames. We see a lot of EAs that might be ideally designed or specified to work, say, in a 1 or a 5 minute time frame. But then if you have a look at, say, a 4 hour or a day, they're just very, very different. Because if we get someone who, for example, might trade, say, like a MACD crossover or use ATR for calculation of their stop losses, over those different time periods, you can have very, very sort of different results. One of the things that The other thing they do is don't expect your EA to be an artificial intelligence. It's not going to make decisions for you. It's not going to make recommendations. The EAs are about execution of a very, very specific strategy. Don't expect them to be much more than that. There's a lot of things that become really, really important from my point of view. One is, look, we encourage you need to have a strategy. So the EA is just a technical representation specifically of your strategy. One of the things that we also recommend is, through a lot of our tools, MT4, MT5 and CTrader, the ability to backtest, and make sure that your EA is specifically tuned to the particular instrument that you wish to trade. It also needs to be highly tuned to the particular time frame that you're interested in. There's a lot of work to getting the EAs to work. The other thing that we generally suggest is, make sure that as part of your EA, you manage your risk appropriately. Make sure that your risk sizing is proportionate to the risk you're willing to take. And of course, above all else, have a stop loss. If you wanted to let your profits run, that's great. But however, we always recommend, particularly in EA, and I do myself, is have stop losses where you're kind of very happy. And the other thing is that you always, start small, right? Don't get your EA and expect it to be, awfully successful from day one. It may need tuning over time.
One thing that really helped me when I was trading with algos at first, when I was just starting out and trying them, was to speak with people doing the same thing. And that would kind of push me to work harder on my algo, and at the same time to think of new ideas that I didn't think about first. The other thing was I took it one step at a time. So I went with one small thing, trying it out in the market, seeing if it worked or not. Sometimes it didn't work, I would have to go back. And then if it worked, I would just go to the next step. And so there's never a reason to push your algo live in the market, quickly go, because that doesn't work. So you want to go slowly, step by step, being around people that do the same, and have someone you can reach out to or call if you need any help and if you have any issue at any point. And here are Jason's best practices for trading with algos.
To be ultra successful the EAs are generally not around, it's not designed around a single indicator. So to be successful it's the combinations of indicators, that form your strategy, and then it's the execution of your strategy within the EA. We generally say, you need to check them every day. You need to understand the trades that it's doing. Again, have a stop loss, make sure that it's well back tested. It's important to start really small, as we've said before. One of the things that you've got to be mindful of, the markets are highly volatile. I think Cress Weston's recently spoke about implied volatility. It's really important to understand the dynamics of the market that you're particularly trading, and particularly the instrument that you're trading into. Follow some of our other videos and you can kind of get some great insight into that. But I said essentially, we say backtest, stop loss, manage your lots appropriately, and just check in daily with your EAs to make sure they're doing, and don't be surprised if you have to come back multiple times to readjust your strategy. It's very unlikely that your first strategy would be successful.
Now here's the thing, even though you do everything right and proper and all in the right order, and even though you have a mentor, you will still have an issue with confidence when you trade with an algo. It's just normal. Confidence comes from doing the work and from seeing the result of your work. You cannot just do the work and say, oh, I'm confident, because that doesn't work when you don't know what you're doing. So you're confident because you don't know what's happening. Confidence comes from not knowing what you do. So you don't know what you're doing, so you're confident, but then your results suffer and then you lose your confidence. But real confidence comes from the result you get. And so if you're going to get confident, you're going to get result. But here are some tips that I believe can really help you get more confident about your algo.
So how do you get confidence in your EAs? We at Pepperstone, we offer demo accounts. We say to all traders, if they wish to try out an EA in a real live environment, take one of our demo accounts and then run your EA in a very live environment to make sure that you can get your statistical edge. One of the things that we do is we say to everyone, generally start sort of fairly small, not so small that you're into micro lots, because you really want to make sure that your EA works. Not all EAs work across all markets. One of the things that, for me, on how I gain confidence is that, markets are very volatile. They can be bear, bull or flat. What we find is that most EAs will operate, fairly well in one particular market, but they may not offer, they may not work terribly well in some of the other ones. And overall, look, we kind of say, look, it's really important to understand the actual market you're in. It's to do the research, it's to follow the blogs, it's to read about the news that's happening, get a little bit of understanding. And we say, look, to gain confidence is don't try your EA on every instrument within your trading environment. Just focus on a couple or one particular instrument, get to understand it really well, and then build your strategy around that.
And as a bonus, I didn't plan on talking about this on camera necessarily, But I was speaking with Jason a little bit after the recording, and he got to speak about the future of algos, which I thought was interesting. So if you are wondering what the future is going to be, what people think at Pepperstone will be the future of algo, listen to this pretty closely.
So one of the things as CTO that I kind of spend a lot of time working on is, what is the future of algorithmic trading? What is the future of EAs? Personally, I spend a lot of time looking at machine learning. I spend a lot of time looking at applications of AI, particularly within the trading space. I can see a time, and some of the things that we're working on, is how do you take, if you take an EA, which is traditionally based on OHLCV, it's a combination, we synthesize some indicators, etc. I can see a time where if you can leverage outside of the pure trading environment, we can couple that with some AI intelligence, whether they be models built particularly on some of the very large ML platforms that are coming out into the market. And what we're working on is how do you really combine them? So if you talk about a pure algorithmic trader, it's about how do we combine the very best that we bring in our trading environments with some of the very best that's happening in the world, particularly into the AI space, and how do you combine them together to give our traders a lot of the edge around how do I go outside of pure technicals and then allow them to extend into fundamentals, whether that be through reading blogs automatically, through automatic machine processing, natural language processing, etc. There's something that we're spending a lot of time on that. It's something that's very, very close on our radar, particularly for the algorithmic traders and for the folks that choose to kind of augment their current patterns and augment their current strategies around how they deliver into a much bigger world.
So guys, I hope you liked this video with Jason. Let me know in the comment below, do you trade with algos now? Do you want to trade with algos this year? What's your experience with this? I want to know in the comment for sure. Let me know your thoughts, of course. Here are a few comments of the past video. Appreciate you guys for leaving your comments as always in the comment section. Check out the links below for Pepperstone if you want to be able to sign up with them, trade through them. They are an awesome team. I cannot recommend them enough, and they're always super nice with me and other people that I know trading with them. So that's worth it if you want to have a good broker this year to be able to sustain you as you reach your goals, because you'll get there, of course. And I'll catch you back here in the next video. Ciao.